Okay, so today I'm working on this ML320, and what's happening is the power steering is leaking from the reservoir. So this happens a lot with these 320s, and this is the same procedure for an E, or even if you can find a C class or any 320 engine, it's all the same. The power steering pump is right below this reservoir. This is the reservoir. So the first thing that you do is you just like pull this cover up. There's no screws or anything on it. You just pull it up. Be careful of this. This is made of plastic, dude. They do break. Careful. So what happens to these things is there's an O-ring that's behind it. This whole thing looks like it's toasted. Like it just looks like it's completely wasted. So what I'm gonna do is, and this truck doesn't have any power steering, so it's probably empty. So it'll be a little bit less of a mess than normal. Yeah, it's like totally dry. So what I'm gonna do is I just take the cap off just to get it out of my way. What you got to do is, this is so easy to do. There's one. This is an external Torx. Sometimes you can use like a 12-point socket or even a 6-point socket, and it'll pull them off. But this is an E10 external Torx, and you just loosen that up a whole bunch. I wouldn't even take it off all the way. It doesn't matter. And then here you got a regular flathead screw that goes to this. Man, you can't see it. There's no light. There it goes. This is like a non-pressure for the cooler. So you just take a screwdriver and unhook this wire, this line, and just kind of crimp it, I guess, and put it off to the side so you don't lose a bunch of fluid. And so we'll do that right now, and then I'll get to the very next step, which is just a little clip behind there. So as I was getting to this, I took the hose off here. I loosened that bolt right there. There it goes, it's sticking out. And I loosened this hose, and as I pulled it, I just gave it a little pull, and snap! The whole inlet for that. This thing is made of plastic, and it's not good quality plastic either. And plus, this thing has been like soaked with power steering fluid, so it just crumbles. So if you're not doing the reservoir, if you're just doing the pump, be very careful when you take this thing out, because that thing is plastic and it does snap, and it just snapped and it crumbled inside it here. So I just pulled the little chunks out of it. So the next piece is, and this thing is like completely empty, like there's no power steering fluid in the system whatsoever, so I didn't even get any fluid out of here, so I'm just going to let it hang out. The next piece is, you see where this Torx is at? Right directly below that, there's a C-clip. Man, I can't see anything. Here's the Torx bit, and that has nothing to do with what we're doing here. And then right here, you can't see it, but it's there. There's a C-clip, and it comes out this way. It's stuck in there. You can kind of see the edge of it right there, and it's stuck in there. You stick a screwdriver in there, and you pull it out this way, and then so what that does is it holds this. There's a tube down there that's like this, and it holds this reservoir onto the body of the engine. So we're going to just pop the C-clip out, and you'll see that this reservoir is just going to pop right out as soon as we take this bolt out the rest of the way. And that's the only thing that's holding this on here is this one bolt, the hose, of course, and this C-clip in the back. And then we're going to show you the O-ring. That's very important. It leaks all the time on these Benzes, and this reservoir, and when I pop it out. Okie dokie, so I've plucked the C-clip out. It's like sticking out of there right now, and you just pull it out, and this is what it looks like. Once again, it goes in. Man, this is a tight space and no light. It goes in just like this. Doop, doop. So you just get a screwdriver behind this part right here, and you just pluck it out, and you can just pull it right out. So we're gonna chuck that right there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this bolt out the rest of the way. Now, when you do this, most likely you're going to get soaked with power steering fluid. I mean, it's going to come out. So put a little pan or a towel or something, a cardboard box. It's not going to be a whole lot, but it'll be something. This one is like completely empty, so I don't foresee it even doing anything. And see, you just pull it out. Boom. And like I said, this one is completely empty. So there it is. And there's that little O-ring I'm talking about. This thing is very important. And when you stick it back in, I'm going to show you, of course. You chuck the O-ring in like that and make sure it's seated in there proper. So I've got my new, well, it's not mine, it's my customer's. I'm doing the labor for this. So here's the new power steering pump. And here's the new O-ring. It's not pretty orange like the other one, but it's an O-ring. So let me get this out of the package. I'll turn the camera back on when we plug this thing back in. You know, this thing comes with little yellow things on there. You just pluck them out of there before you do anything. So let me turn the camera off so I can get this thing out of the bag. Right back. Okay, so here we go. I got the old one and all that junk back in the box. My hands are dirty, and I've got an O-ring here. Now it doesn't matter which way this thing goes in. It's the same on both sides. So you chuck it on in here, but you make sure that it's sitting the right way, because these things can sit cockeyed, and when you shove it in there, it'll just crimp it, and then you'll just be leaking again, and you'll have to do this over again, and you'll have to buy a new O-ring. So just make sure it's seated in there proper, and this one looks pretty good to me. Yep, looks quite fantastic. Feels good. And so we're just going to take this new reservoir, and I don't have the time or the patience to clean all of this huge mess that this has made. Normally I would get a couple cans of 2+2 or like a gum cutter, and I would cut away all this junk that's going on here, but it's I don't have any. And when I came here, I wasn't aware that this was going to be so bad. So, there's two little things that this lines up on. It's like it slides in and out of them, so that this will always line up pretty perfectly. And you just give it a little something, until it snaps in all the way, until you can see that it's got it. And you'll see it here. There's a little gap there, so there should be no gap. So you just gotta shove this thing in here until the gap disappears, and then you can put the C-clip back in. Okay, so there was like a piece of schmutz in there. That's why it wouldn't go back here. It kept giving me a gap, but now it's fine. And I ended up just putting the O-ring on the silver part that's coming out of the engine, not inside the power steering pump. It seemed to work better that way. So you just I just like to put these things in like sort of hand tight, and then I'll do the C-clip, and then I'll tighten this up all the way, and then I'll put this back, and then I'm going to show you how to fill it and bleed the air out of it. Okay, so this truck had another little surprise for me, so I can't show you how to bleed a power steering, but I'll tell you. Alright, so what happened to this truck was I put this all together, I filled it up, I turned the truck on, and I tried to pull the steering wheel, and I still didn't have any power steering. So I came over here, and I looked, and the return line, the line that goes from the cooler, so like this line that comes out of here, it goes into the radiator because it cools the power steering fluid, and then it comes out here in this bottom hose, and then it goes into the steering rack. So what happened was this hose was broken, and it was off, and it was just dumping the fluid out. So I wasted all the fluid that I had, and now I got to go to a store and do it. So here's how you bleed a power steering system that has rack and pinion steering. You take the cap off of the reservoir, you fill it up all the way, you turn the car on, and you pull the steering wheel slowly all the way left, hold it for like a second, and then go back the other way slowly, you'll hear it. It'll make the whining sound. You go to the other side, you hold it. Don't go all the way to the lock, but go until it's like almost over. Hold it, and then you go back and forth, come back out here. See how much fluid came out. Fill it back up. Do the same thing, you know. Wax on, wax off until that whining goes away, and just make sure that this stays full. Fill it up to the top, and make sure the whining is going away and your power steering is working fine, and you're finished, ready to go. So I'm finished this job. Thanks for watching. I hope I helped.